Hi, I'm here today to talk about one of my new books that I've just written and that is now released on Amazon. My name is Tanya Saunders. I am mother to 8-year-old twin girls, one of whom is profoundly deaf and the other one is typically hearing. I write books for deaf and hard of hearing children and their siblings and their family and friends. One of my series of books is called The Bear Buddies, and it's a learning adventure series. And I have a particular affection for these books. I think probably because I initially wrote them for my daughters when they were starting school, because the books are really focused on that transitional period when children move out of the home environment into the wider social setting of school. And it struck me particularly with my deaf daughter that unless she had access to very simple play language and language to equip her for everyday situations, she was not going to be able to join in with her friends in the same way that her hearing sister would be able to. So I created the Bear Buddies, and the first book in the series is Friends Together, which has been out for just under a year now, and really focuses on play language, how to make friends in the playground, modelling very simple play language. But anyway, that's not really the book that I'm focusing on today, because I'm really thrilled that my second book in the series, which is actually 3 books rolled into one, it's a trilogy of 3 stories, has just been released on Amazon yesterday. And this book, it's called PHEW. And I'm sorry, this is the proof copy. So you can see there's a horrible sort of ribbon across here saying not for resale. But of course that's going to vanish on the actual books, on the finished copies. Now PHEW is a trilogy of 3 stories, again aimed at very young school children, and focuses on everyday childhood scenarios that our children might encounter in their day-to-day lives, teaching them the vocabulary and the language and the social and interpersonal skills that they might need, all wrapped up in a fun story featuring the 8 bear buddies. So the first story is called A Helping Hand, and it is about a little bear who gets hurt in the playground. Here he is, it's Bobby Bear, and he's got hurt in the playground, and it's about how his friend Honor Bear goes to get help for him. Honor Bear, by the way, she wears cochlear implants, her magic ears or her super ears, whatever you want to call them. And it's about how she goes and seeks help from the teacher, and we learn a whole lot of vocabulary associated with that kind of a situation, how to help another child in the playground, what language to use, how to describe to the teacher what has happened. Then we move on to the second story, which is linked, it's all a continuation, but in a second book. This one is, see if I can get this right with the light, Lost and Found. And this one is more about self-advocacy. So rather than helping somebody else, it's speaking up to help yourself. And in this story, we have Honor Bear, who she loses one of her cochlear implants. Now, my daughter Honor, who the bear is modelled on, actually did lose one of her cochlear implants at school, and she really begged me to write a story about the bear buddies basically having to turn the school upside down looking for the lost cochlear implant. And to cut a long story short, Honor Bear's twin sister Sala Bear eventually finds the missing cochlear implant and saves the day, and all is well. But moving on then to the third story, which is called Superpowers, Harry Bear, here we see, oops, I'm not very good at getting this right and back to front. Harry Bear is very confused about Honor's cochlear implants. Here we can see a diagram labelling the cochlear implant with very basic labels and language. And Harry Bear is very confused how Honor Bear's cochlear implant can actually stick to her head. How can a magnet stick to her head when her head is not made of metal? And here we talk a little bit about magnets and how magnets work. Oops, I've got this wrong. I really need to sort myself out here. But we've got some pictures of everyday sort of objects like the wooden train in the playground and some wooden doors, which are all obviously not magnetic, but of course a cochlear implant would stick to a car door and it would stick to anything that's made of metal. And in the story, Honor Bear explains to Harry Bear how her cochlear implant sticks to her head. And in fact, and Harry Bear is filled with wonder and awe at this incredible invention that Honor Bear wears on her head, and wishes that he had superpowers too. And Sala Bear, who tends to always come to the rescue, she points out that actually they all have superpowers, because the Bear Buddies have the superpower of friendship. And so the book ends with the celebration of the superpowers of friendship and the superpowers of magic ears or cochlear implants. And yeah, so that's the 3 books, and I'm really excited about them because they've been a long time coming. These books all rolled into one, and I thought I would do it as a trilogy to make it more cost effective, and because the 3 stories do run into each other, they're linked. And as with all the Bear Buddies books, we do have activity pages within the books. We call them our participation pages, where children can put into practice what they've learnt through the stories. So for example, here, after the first story, A Helping Hand, I've created a story map which would help a child to retell the story. So basically to practice the language they've learnt, practice retelling the story, build their auditory memory by retelling the story, but with the visual prompts to help them. And there's a whole lot of activity pages at the end of each of the stories. For example, and then right at the end here we've got one about drawing your own cochlear implant or hearing aid and labelling it and discussing what each part is for, what job it does. So there we go. It is now PHEW is the name of the Omnibus Edition 3-in-1 stories, with A Helping Hand, Lost and Found, and Superpowers, are 3 books within this single edition. I hope you like it, and I look forward to hearing what you and your children think of the book. Thank you and enjoy.